My name is Sophia Porter. I'm from a small town in Strangerville, right off the coast of Sulani. I graduated college earlier this year and just happened to move in with my college sweetheart at the time. But I'm not here to tell that story because that story's over. So pay attention because it's better if I just show you. This is me and my best friend Nisha. Right now, you're seeing Nisha concerned because I showed up unannounced with heartbreaking news. Nisha and I were roommates in college, all 4 years. She and I were inseparable until I met Roland. Roland was everything a girl could want, or at least that's how he portrayed himself. I never once thought I'd be here telling this version of my story, but that is what it boiled down to. I just told Nisha that earlier today, a woman showed up at Roland's house saying that the two of them have been together intimately for the past few months, and she thinks she may have given Roland an STI. But I didn't just believe her offhand until she showed me pictures and videos of the two of them together. That's when my whole world crumbled right before my eyes. I never saw it coming. I asked Nisha, what am I to do? Roland and I have been living together since we graduated, and I hadn't found consistent work, so it would be difficult for me to leave him right now. She replied with,
"Screw that, Sophia. Look at me."
But Nisha wasn't having it.
"First, you need to go get tested to make sure that stank didn't pass anything on to you. Then, you're gonna go and pack up your most vital belongings. Place his credit cards, keys, and your phone on the table and leave. Then, you will write up your best damn resume. Start applying for open positions, and I'll see if I can pull some strings to get you in at my job in the meantime. We can get you a new phone plan, and you can stay in my guest room until you're ready to move out on your own. You'll be back on your feet in no time. Now is the time to get focused. Him seeing you flourish on your own without him will be the best kind of revenge. He's gonna wish he never disrespected your trust."
As soon as I told her, she advised me to stay with her for a while.
"I know it's gonna take time for you to process a new normal, but I am here to help you through it."
The next day, we got up early, and the first thing I did was hit the emergency clinic to test for any STIs.
Now that we got you checked at the emergency clinic, we just have to wait for your test results. Let me know if you're not up to taking a trip to get your belongings today. We can plan to do it another day if you want.
And I told her that we better just do it today. Otherwise, I'll just keep putting it off.
I think that's a good idea. So the first thing we'll do is we'll stop by his house to get your stuff. And while you're inside, I'll make some calls to the management team at my workplace and see if we can do anything to get you a job with us.
I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to help me sort through these issues. This really isn't something I should have brought to your doorstep, but I just didn't know where else to go since my parents are so far away. Not that I'd want them to know the situation anyway.
Don't mention it. You're my best friend, and you know I will do anything for you. I am just so glad that I have the ability to help you out. I will never forget how you helped me back in college when I had trouble paying my tuition each semester. I appreciated everything you did for me, so I'm happy to help you in any way I can. I got your back, girl, and you can always count on me. All right, I think we should get on the road before traffic gets out of hand.
Nisha was on it. She always knew what to do in critical situations. And I really appreciate her in this one, because when you're heartbroken, your brain is like mush, and it's real hard to make the right decisions. Roland had it made. Right out of college, he landed a nice position with the government. It was some kind of role that required him to travel a lot and keep his work-related details to a minimum. I never really pressed him too much about it because he would get agitated and end the conversation. While I went inside to collect my things, Nisha waited in the car and made some calls to see if she could get me a spot on her team in human resources.
At the moment, it doesn't look like we have any available positions in our department, but let me just do an internal check and see what we can do for her. Okay, so I just did a search for positions in the company that are strictly based on recommendation only, and the C-suite has an open position for a personal assistant to the CEO.
Get the heck out of here. Mr. Grady needs a new personal assistant? Liz, that's perfect for her. Can you please email that posting to me ASAP?
Already on it. I'll send it right over.
Sophia will apply for it tonight as soon as we get home. Thanks, Liz. I really appreciate it.
No problem, girl. Talk to you soon.
Girl, that was exhausting as hell. I cannot believe I just did this.
Well, I have some exciting news for you, so buckle up, because your blessings are already rolling in.
Since I never had a big girl job coming out of college, I never really had a professional wardrobe. And Nisha took me to this cute boutique nearby to grab some professional outfits so that I would be prepared to work in a corporate environment.
Let's get your professional wardrobe started. Then we need to get home so that you can get your resume over to Liz before tomorrow.
As soon as we got home, I started right away working on my resume, making sure to put my best foot forward because I knew I was representing Nisha, and I really needed this job. Seems like it took all night, but I know it was worth it. And I slept good knowing that I put my everything into that application. Over the course of the week, Nisha and I decided to start a self-care routine, which includes reading to build new skills, keeping up with our skincare, and going hard in the gym for hours because we still like to pig out and eat like we're in college. This week I received so many emails from Roland trying to apologize. Thankfully, he doesn't have my new phone number. I don't know why he thinks I'd want to talk. There's nothing to talk about. I just want to move on and forget about him, honestly. Later in the week, while sweating all my sorrows away, I get a phone call.
Hi, Sophia. This is Liz from Human Resources at Grady Enterprises. I'm reaching out to let you know that Mr. Grady would like to hire you at a starting salary of $6,000 per month for the personal assistant role. If you're interested in accepting this role, he has personally requested an immediate hire, which means you will be expected to start tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Can we expect to see you then?
I couldn't believe it. I got the job. They said Mr. Grady is very impressed with my resume and didn't want to waste any time, so I'll be starting right away.
Girl, we kicked that workout's ass today, and I think we deserve that weekly cheat meal. You trying to hit up Shake Shack after this?
After the gym that day, we headed over to Shake Shack and Nisha gave me the rundown of all the people in the C-suite that I should know about, including the executives to stay away from. Interestingly, she didn't say much about Mr. Grady, which is who I'll be spending the most of my time with at this job. So I asked her if there was any advice she could give me for what I'll be doing. And the only thing she could say was,
try not to get googly-eyed for the guy. It's important to stay focused, especially now that you're single. I'm not gonna lie to you, Mr. Grady is a good-looking guy, and most of the women who work for Grady Enterprises typically only apply because they wanted to get lucky with Mr. Grady. So be warned, your position in this company gives you exclusive access to him, and you can almost expect the eyes of envy from other women around the office.
apparently James Grady is an attractive man. So she warned me to expect the eyes of envy from other women in the building. All I could think was, great, not only am I the noob in the corporate landscape, but now I have to watch out for envious women while trying to do my job. I hope Mr. Grady is just one of those guys women think is the bee's knees, but really, he's just a regular-looking wealthy man. The next day, I woke up recharged and ready to go. Since it's my first day, I can ride to work with Nisha. But tomorrow I'll have to call a cab because Mr. Grady will be expecting me in office every day before the rest of the employees make it in there. Before leaving for work, I got a phone call from the clinic. They said I was in the clear and that I had nothing to worry about. All of the tests came back negative. Now I can finally move on. Nisha and I made it to work before most of the other employees made it in. Since it was my first day, she took the liberty of giving me the grand tour and showing me everything from the rec rooms to the conference rooms. We ended the tour on the C-suite where she would leave me until it was time for lunch. The C-suite is on the topmost floor of the building. The first desk you encounter when arriving on this floor is Amy Flood's desk. Amy Flood is Mr. Grady's executive assistant. Behind these glass doors is where I'll be stationed. My desk sits adjacent to the second set of glass doors that leads to Mr. Grady's office. This part of Mr. Grady's office is locked and no one can get through without access to mine or his desk. The only person with a key to these doors is Mr. Grady himself. Through these last set of doors lies Mr. Grady's office. His desk sits in the corner of his office where the sun shines brightest and the view is spectacular. My first meeting of the day was with the man himself, Mr. James Grady. And I really had to check myself. I didn't expect to see such an attractive, suave, clean-cut looking man standing before me and call me crazy, but the look I saw in his eyes told me he was just as astonished as I was. After 30 seconds of fully scanning each other, I finally opened my mouth and introduced myself, because his cold and piercing stare made me feel so nervous. Fortunately, I didn't ramble on and on for too long before catching myself and realizing he was waiting for me to finish talking. All he said to me was,
"I just wanted to meet you in person, but I am on a way to a meeting, so Amy will answer all your questions and train you for the next 4 weeks. You should go see her in your office now."
Amy and I got right to work. Same as Mr. Grady, she seems like a no-nonsense kind of professional. Her advice was to get my notebook out and write down everything she says because I'm going to need to reference it, and she will not always be in the same rooms as me and Mr. Grady. So it's important to have my cheat sheet nearby. She walked me through a typical day and what I'm responsible for in regard to Mr. Grady. She was very adamant about keeping my interactions with Mr. Grady strictly professional. It was almost as if she had given this speech several times before. Amy said that for these first 4 weeks, I will be reporting directly to her since I am in training. And then after my training period is over, all of my tasks will be assigned to me by Mr. Grady directly. Amy covered all the bases. She was very thorough in her lecture. She synced my calendar with Mr. Grady's calendar and even indicated that my attendance to Mr. Grady is of the most importance moving forward. So I need to ensure that I schedule personal appointments away from the office at least a month in advance and request my time off with Mr. Grady directly. As soon as we knew it, it was time for our midday meeting. Every day, about halfway through the day, Mr. Grady has a meeting with his MVPs, also known as his most valuable players. There's Amy, who is his executive assistant, or basically the gatekeeper of the C-suite. Then there's Derek, who is Mr. Grady's head attorney. There's Jen, the strawberry blonde lady, who serves as his CFO, or Chief Financial Officer. And finally, there's me, Mr. Grady's personal assistant. For the first half of the meeting, Mr. Grady made it about me. He gave a speech, educating the team on my background, highlighting my accomplishments academically, and making sure everyone knew how important my role is to him. At one point, he actually said, "If Sophia ever comes to you with a problem, request, question, or demand, I want you to drop everything you're doing and tend to her needs immediately, and that's an order." Everyone seems to be on board and even asked follow-up questions regarding how they can be of more help to me. Then, everyone else gave their updates and we closed out the meeting. Soon after, Nisha, Liz, and I met up for lunch at this cute outdoor restaurant 2 buildings away from the office. Liz works in HR with Nisha. Today was Liz's day off, but she was so excited to meet me that she made it a point to still join us for lunch. Nisha says that Liz is her work bestie, so she wanted her best friend and her work bestie to meet, especially now that we are all working for the same company. Liz is a social butterfly, so as soon as we got seated, she said, "I'll be right back. I see someone I need to say hi to." I can tell that I like her energy already. While we waited for our food, Nisha asked how my first day is going, and she mentioned that she has eyes and ears on the C-suite that would let her know if they aren't treating me right. But I assured her that everyone seems to be helpful and supportive of my role, and that she has nothing to worry about. The food at this place was delicious, and rightfully so, because we were in the heart of the best restaurants in the city. After we ate, Nisha bursted out with, "I have tea and I'm ready to share." So of course, me and Liz are dying for her to spill. And just like that, she gets a text and starts smiling and begins telling her story.
So remember that guy from C-Suite I told you was off limits? His name is Derek. And Derek and I have been flirting back and forth secretly around the office. We've been meeting up in the mornings for coffee in the first floor cafe, and we've been walking our own paperwork to each other's offices instead of sending the messengers. And today, he actually asked me out on a real date. Derek and I are going on a real date this weekend, and I'm so excited because, girls, he is so fine.
I began thanking the gods of all heaven and earth because Nisha hasn't dated in years. She's been so focused on her career and dedicated to her path that she would turn every guy down who would ask her out. By all means, she did the right thing, so now she deserves whatever her heart desires. And I hope that Derek turns out to be her happily ever after, because we all deserve to have that fairy tale ending. Then I began to think to myself, I hope one day I get to have that feeling too. After catching up with Nisha and Liz, I noticed it was time for me to get back to the office. My lunch hour is before Amy's, so that whenever my lunch ends, I can man her desk while she's away during her lunch. Most days, she just has lunch at her desk, so I won't have to sit in for her. But today, she's giving me the full training experience so that we don't miss a beat on any aspect of my responsibilities. By the end of the day, I had one last meeting with Mr. Grady before leaving the office. This is when he told me how demanding my role is going to be. He said,
I want you to know that this is not like any other personal assistant role. I have high standards that must be met. And if you can't keep up with what I require from you, you will be demoted to work alongside a different executive or asked to resign. I don't tolerate tardiness or what's happening around the office chatter. I often take business trips which will require you to stand in as my date when I don't have one available for the occasion. If that makes you uncomfortable, please let me know now. Otherwise, this is what your job description entails and what I will expect from you.
After that speech he gave me, I tried to assure him that I am here on business and will not cause him any trouble. And as serious of a situation as I'm in, I meant it. Halfway through the year, I'm finally getting used to the swing of things at my job. Feels like everything is falling into place and I finally have a handle on my life. Until the obsessive calls started. Come in. On this particular day, Nisha came in to see what I had planned for this upcoming weekend. But all I could focus on was Roland's relentless calls and texts. I knew it would be a matter of time before he found me. Through some of our mutual friends, he found out I've been staying with Nisha. He keeps trying to come see me, but thankfully we are at work every time he shows up here. I can't risk him finding out where I work. Mr. Grady doesn't do drama. And I cannot have Roland dismantle everything I've worked so hard for. So I told Nisha we need to talk. I told her, I think it's time for me to move out on my own. I've had such a great time living with you for the past year, and I'm so grateful for you opening up your home to me like this. But I think I'm finally ready to get a spot of my own. I could feel it in my heart that Nisha isn't ready for me to go, but I know she respects my decision.
I know it's been a year, but I know you've been saving up for a house. Is there any reason in particular why you want to leave now?
Yes, actually. Roland found out I live here, and someone gave him my new number, so he's been showing up here unannounced and blowing up my phone while I'm at work, and I just can't risk him bringing drama everywhere I go.
Girl, I already knew he was stalking you. I got cameras outside my house. I just didn't know he had your number, and I didn't realize that you knew he was coming around. Out of respect for you, I haven't called the cops yet. But now that I know he's bothering you, I will.
Nisha, you don't have to do that unless it's making you uncomfortable. I think it'd be best if he thinks I still live here so that he doesn't try to follow me. I know Roland, and if he wants something, he will stop at nothing until he gets it.
Okay. But the moment he steps out of line, I'm not holding back. I will call the cops on his ass.
Nisha will go through great lengths to support me, and I appreciate her for that. But it's time for me to move out. The rest of the night, I researched apartments close to work so that I could just walk in every day and not worry about hitching a ride with Nisha or catching a cab. And by the end of the night, I found a place suitable for me to move into. And there's a vacancy that I can move into as soon as this weekend.